I am so excited to tell you about my very first God Jots book, Forgiveness and Healing: How to Seek, Offer, and Understand the Power of Forgiveness. What is forgiveness? What is the power of forgiveness? And how can you use it to set yourself free from the chains of that bondage? Learn how to forgive, learn how to apologize, and read real stories from real people that'll help you get through it. Plus, hey, on top of that, a whole lot of my weirdness, I suppose. So if you're willing to take a chance on that, check it out. It's available now, including signed copies, at forgivenessbook.godjots.com. Go check it out. We all make choices based on past hurts, hopes, beliefs, and dreams. What happens when we allow that reality to guide our perception of others and step into compassionate curiosity? What's up, my EFF? Let me tell you how it is. You've just stumbled upon God Jots, a series about the nature of love, compassion, joy, and the real-life connection between human beings. I'm Ender Bowen, Nashville, Tennessee rock pop artist, author, husband, father, complete dork, and aspiring compassionist. Sit back, relax, and be prepared to laugh, cry, maybe even stick a pen up your nose for some reason. Have you ever found yourself completely baffled by somebody else's choice, especially when it feels so contrary to what you would decide? It's one thing to disagree on what restaurant to eat at or whether pineapple belongs on a pizza or if Wings is a spinoff of Cheers. But it's an entirely different realm when it comes to the deeper, more complex decisions like politics, moral stances, or even those peculiar life choices that seem incomprehensible at first glance. Consider this. We often look at someone making a choice we wouldn't, and we assume that their motives align with the reasons we would never make that choice. Maybe we think, I wouldn't vote for candidate X because they stand for A, B, and C. So if you're voting for them, you must actively support those things. We take our reasoning, wrap it up in a neat little package, and hand it over to the other person as if it's the only explanation that makes sense. But here's the kicker. It almost never is. It's kind of like watching someone stick a pen up their nose. You think they're trying to get ink all over their sinuses because that's why you would never do it, but maybe they're just trying to tickle an itch that you've never felt. We all come from different stories, different reasons, different sets of lived moments that drive us to act. When we pause and remember this, our perception shifts, the tension loosens, and space opens up where grace can step in. Our minds love neat categories. We love to label, box up, and sort people and their actions into understandable, monolithic ideas. This is especially true when faced with decisions that seem so important we lose sleep over them, political choices being a prime example. To some extent, it's a self-protective measure. If we believe that people who do X are bad because they must think Y, well, we don't have to grapple with the more uncomfortable reality that they might be just as human, just as complicated, and just as earnest as we are in their decisions. The danger here is that we stop seeing people as people. We see them as representatives of an ideology, as puppets in the grand, scary play of opposing beliefs. We create narratives about their motivations that may have no basis in truth. And in this warped perception, compassion crumbles. We don't give them a chance to surprise us, to be complex, to be someone who, under different circumstances, we might respect, befriend, or even, dare I say it, love. But what if we allowed ourselves to pause and recognize that others don't always make decisions for the reasons that we assume? What if, when faced with a choice we don't understand, we asked ourselves, what story might they be living that brought them here? This isn't to say that we must agree or change our own beliefs, but it opens the door to seeing beyond the surface. It's an invitation to remember that, just like you and me, other people are often doing the best they can with what they know and what they've experienced. Imagine looking at your friend who holds a political view that you'd never endorse. You're filled with that initial sting of confusion or even anger. But then, instead of firing off assumptions, you take a breath and consider that their experiences, struggles, needs, and fears are different from yours. Maybe they aren't voting for candidate X because they align with every policy you fear. Maybe they're voting because candidate X represents hope in a way that you don't see because of something in their past that shaped their perspective. Maybe, just maybe, their choice has layers you couldn't have predicted. When we do this, we don't only open up space for understanding, we give room for connection. People don't change or soften their stances because someone shouted louder or argued harder or insisted on a particular definition of spinoff. They open up when they feel seen. When we move past the reflex to label and condemn, we invite trust and humanity back into the conversation. All right, so how do we get from understanding this in theory to applying it in the raw moments when someone's choices make our heads spin? Well, it starts with small, deliberate shifts in how we respond. The next time you see someone acting or voting or choosing in a way you wouldn't, try this. Number one, pause the assumptions. Your brain will want to jump to conclusions. Notice this and intentionally step back. Remind yourself they probably didn't make this choice for the same reason that I wouldn't. Number two, seek their story. If it's someone you know, ask questions. Not the combative, loaded ones, but genuine, open-ended questions that come from a place of wanting to understand. What made you feel like this was the best choice? Or what do you hope to see come from this? Are good places to start. Number three, reflect on your own motivations. Consider why you wouldn't make the choice that they did. What past experiences shape your views? How do your fears and hopes influence you? This helps frame their decision in the context of personal stories rather than pure logic or ideology. Number four, hold space for surprise. People can and do surprise us. Allow that possibility to exist. It's not weakness to believe that someone you disagree with could have noble, relatable reasons behind their choice. In fact, it's a mark of strength. When we step into this space of compassionate curiosity, something powerful happens. We start treating people as whole, complex beings. We remember that no one wakes up in the morning thinking, I'm going to choose wrong today. Except maybe my 7-year-old son. We all make choices based on a matrix of past hurts, hopes, beliefs, and dreams. And when we allow that reality to guide our perception of others, our fear begins to dissipate. The anxiety that kept us awake at night, worried about how the other side will ruin everything, it starts to loosen its grip a little bit. We learn that people are not just ideas we must overcome. They are hearts that we can learn to understand. At the end of the day, this is what allows us to build bridges. Not by pretending the differences aren't there, but by acknowledging them without letting them turn us into enemies. Compassion, that precious, radical force, thrives when we see beyond the ink-stained pen in someone's nose to the itch that they're trying to scratch. All right, now it's your turn. When has someone you know made a decision or a choice that made your head spin? How did you handle it? How might you have handled it better? How might you utilize compassionate curiosity to better understand their experience, their story, and ultimately, their decision? When have you made a choice that others reacted to in the same way? What happened? What are some other ways we can be compassionately curious? I would love for you to share your thoughts about this episode with my growing community of aspiring compationists. Find out how to join us on Discord by going to enderbowen.com/Discord. If you like this episode and want to be notified when new ones are uploaded, make sure you don't leave without hitting that subscribe button, or subscribe to God Jots on your favorite podcast streaming service. You can also check out more God Jots, as well as subscribe to the mail list for ebooks, updates, and exclusive content at godjots.com. Until next time, be honest with yourself, be truthful with others, give people the opportunity to surprise you, and remember that it's impossible to have absolutely nothing in common with another human being. Be a little light in the world. I'm sure I'll see you soon.